Hello there, guys. My name is Mislav, and today we are going to talk about the basics of why. Okay, and this is the text editor I talked about in our checkpoint that is pretty much available everywhere. So if you are a computer professional, you will most likely, at least at one point, need to use why, and it is important to know how it works, at least the basics of it, in order for you to be able to modify files. Okay, so let us use y. So I'm going to actually construct a completely new file, which I will call new file.txt. And I'm just using y and just telling it how I want to name the file. Okay, so I can just press enter. And as you can see, new file doesn't contain anything in it because it's a new file. And if I want to quit v, I can just press I can just put in a colon and a Q. Now, if I press enter, I will quit V. Okay, I will quit Y. Now, if I type in ls, you can see that that no new file is created. And this is because if I just type in Y and a file name which doesn't yet exist, and I don't write the changes, so I just quit V, I didn't write the changes, then the file doesn't actually exist. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reopen this new file, which again doesn't yet exist. It currently, before we write the changes, it doesn't exist on our disk. It just exists sort of in this buffer of Y, okay, in this like magical land of Y, so to speak, okay? And let me do something now. Let me tell you about why, okay? And I actually prepared a written material. I have it in front of me, so I'm going to go through all of these to make sure that I don't miss anything out. So the first thing I want you to understand is that Y has two modes, command and insert mode. By default, you are in command mode. And what that means is that any characters you type are not going to be interpreted as symbols to be inserted, but rather as commands. Okay? Also, note that cursor movement is done in the command mode. You can move your cursor here in the command mode, but I can't do it right now because I don't have anything in my file written. However, if I did have something written, I could move the cursor, which I will demonstrate very soon. Okay, and now if I want to insert something, I would press I on my keyboard. And now I have entered the insert mode, which means I can write in this file. And so I can write something like, for example, something else. And if I want to exit insert mode, I will press escape. Okay, and now I can use my arrows to navigate around this line. Now, a word of caution. Backspace won't delete the characters you mistype. Okay, so if you use backspace in insert mode, it will not delete the characters you mistype. And again, to exit your insert mode, which I think I just told you, you can press escape on your keyboard. Okay? Now, if we want to write the changes to the file, what we would do is we would type in the command mode a colon and a W. And when we press enter, the changes are written to our file. Okay? Now, let's learn how to append to a file. While we are in a command mode, in the command mode, which we currently are, and basically in the command mode, as we said, we are not inserting anything. We are just sort of like commanding and telling Y what to do. And basically, from this point on, I will assume that you are in command mode when I give you a particular instruction, unless I explicitly tell you like you should be in insert mode, okay? Because the command mode is the default mode, okay? Now, if I type in capital A, again, capital A, on your keyboard, you will actually enter insert mode and you will actually be able to append to your file, okay? Now, I will press enter and I will write another line, okay? And then I will also press enter again and I will write some other line here as well, okay? And to exit my insert mode, I will press escape again, and now I have multiple lines in my file. So again, in order to append to your file, you can place yourself anywhere you want on the line after which you want to append. So for example, if I wanted to append something after this line, I just press capital A, I can press enter, and I can, for example, type something here, okay? Because I am always appending after the line where my current cursor is on, okay? I'll exit the insert mode with escape. Now, this is appending. Then I also wanted to talk about inserting a blank line below the current line and inserting a blank line above the current line. So if I want to insert a blank line below the current line, I will press O, okay, and let's insert it here. If I want to insert the blank line before this line, I would press O, so that's a lowercase o. But just as a quick warning, it actually enters the insert mode. Okay, so now I'm in my insert mode. I have to press escape to get back in the command mode. Okay, and then if I wanted to insert a blank line above the current line, I would actually press capital O. And again, I also entered the insert mode, so I have to press escape. Now, if I want to undo my changes in the command mode, I would press U. Okay, so U undoes my changes. And now on my system, I have Y. I don't have Vim. Vim actually allows you to undo more changes. Y allows you to undo only one change, if I recall correctly. So do be aware of that. You can't undo changes. Definitely, you can only undo one change. At least that's how it is on my machine. Okay? Now, let's talk about how to delete characters. You do this by pressing X. Okay, so let's say that I wanted to delete line. I would press X right here, X again, and X again. And again, this is all in the command mode. Okay, you should be able to delete characters in the command mode by pressing X. Okay, now you can also delete other stuff. Not just the characters. You can use the DD command. So if you type DD, it is going to delete the current line. If you type $, it will delete from the current cursor location to the end of the current line, and DG will delete from the current line to the end of the file. And so let's just demonstrate all of this. So DD deletes the current line. Okay, DD deletes this line. A D $, so D $, deletes from the current cursor location to the end of the current line, which we just saw, and DG deletes from the current line to the end of the file. So DG deletes from the current line to the end of the file. And let's undo the change by pressing U. Okay? Now, a relevation. The D command doesn't just delete text, it cuts text. Okay, so it actually cuts text. You can paste it with P. Okay, so let's place our cursor here, for example, right here on this line, type something, and let's type DD. Okay, so we will actually press D twice on our keyboard, and then if we press P, we have actually pasted D line. Okay, now P P pastes the line below the line where the cursor is, while capital P pastes the line on the line above the cursor. Okay, so if we wanted to paste the line on the line above the cursor, we wouldn't we wouldn't press lowercase p, but we would press uppercase P. Okay, so that's just important because right now we pressed lowercase p and it basically the line moved from here to here. But if I wanted to place it above the current cursor location, I would type capital P. Okay, so lowercase o inserts a blank line below the current line. Capital O inserts a blank line above the current line. The same is with P. Lowercase p inserts the pasted text below the current line, and uppercase P inserts the text above the current line. Okay, now let's talk about copying, also called yanking. Okay, if we press YY, that copies the current line. If we press $, that is, if we write $, it copies from the current cursor location to the end of the line, at the end of the current line, and the current line is the line that our cursor is in. And if we type in a YG with a capital G, it copies from the current line to the end of the file. Okay, so to demonstrate just one of these, let's type in YY and then let's press capital P. And basically this just pasted type something exactly above our line, which also said type something. Okay, and basically now let's just do one last touch. Okay, let's remove the blank line in the middle of our file, which is here. We do that by placing our cursor on that line and typing capital J. And so basically this way we actually removed the blank line because, as I already told you, backspace doesn't have the purpose it has. So you can't actually use backspace in Y. Okay, Y especially can't use backspace here. Okay, so if I want to write the changes, I would just press the semicolon and W, and if I wanted to quit Y, I would press semicolon and Q and press enter, and that would be it. Also, let's just open up this file again. If I wanted to save this file with another name, so basically save the same contents but only with another file name, I would write it like this. So I would type in colon W, then a space, and then I would write the new file name. Okay, so I could do this to actually write the same contents as different with a different file name. Okay. Okay, so this has been a mouthful. Okay, it's been a lot of information, and I honestly really needed to look very closely on my phone because I really didn't want to miss out on any of these things that I prepared. And I also wanted to say that, listen, you can rewatch this tutorial multiple times. You can, but even more than that, you should experiment with Y yourself. Now that you know some of these basic commands, you should experiment with it, just to gain a sense of it. And then you can get back to this tutorial. If you get stuck on a particular command, you're not really sure what it was, then you can actually look it up. Also, I want to know that this tutorial and the next tutorial, where we are going to cover some, I would say, not so basic functionalities of Y, are actually heavily modeled after the Linux command line book, which is available online for free by William Schatz. Okay, so even if you want to look at Y in a written form, I would highly recommend because there's an entire chapter in the book which is called, I think, A Gentle Introduction to Y, again by William Schatz. The book is called The Linux Command Line, and it's available online for free in a PDF form. And also you should have in the references here below, in the video description, you should have all of the references anyway, so you can look those up. Okay, so again, Y is really specific. It's very special. I haven't used it only maybe once or twice in my life because I really needed to as a part of my software engineering job. But other than that, I haven't really used it. And so I would highly recommend that you learn the basics, and these are the basics. And the next video is going to be some a little bit more advanced functionalities, nothing too fancy, but maybe a little bit fancier than this thing right here. So definitely feel free to check it out. And yeah, I think we covered everything we needed to cover. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.